The sky's the limit. Big day in Ottawa. What great skating history in this town. As we gather in this hockey rink, there is to be recalled a lasting legacy that has written a brilliant story of the ice. Today in the capital city, we conduct the nation's business, an icebound obsession in Ottawa. Its icons have included the wonders of homegrown talent like Olympic champion Barbara Ann Scott, world champion out of the Minto Club Donald Jackson, the beguiling silver medalist Liz Manley, who captured Canada's heart in Calgary, and pair stars Barb Underhill and Paul Martini, who conquered the world right here on the banks of the Rideau Canal. Today, we focus on figure skating's first city of the North. In Grand Prix style, new stars, a new era. Ottawa is an open book for HomeSense Skate Canada International. Ottawa's Senators have nothing on the emotion you can generate by mentioning a name like Barbara Ann Scott. In these parts, she won Olympic gold in 1948, 60 years later. New stars in a new rink, HomeSense Skate Canada International on CBC Shall We Dance, the original dance that is. Today, young stars Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier will fly Canadian colors in the great skating city of Ottawa. Hello everyone, welcome to HomeSense Skate Canada International on CBC. Scott Russell along with Tracy Wilson. Apparently she knows something about the ice dance, won an Olympic medal in 1988. But let's talk about a youth movement going on in this side of the sport. Adelabelle Schoenfelder of France are the experienced world champions at long last, but there's lots coming up to challenge, and we're going to see part of that today.
Yes, we will. There's a couple of teams on the world stage who are poised and ready to try and do what Virtue and Moyer did last year at the World Championships, which is step onto that world podium. Two in this competition. Neither are the national champions. Pechera and Borza of France are second in their country. Davis and White second in their country. But I think both of these teams are looking very, very strong. They have great, creative, original choreography. I think they're going to challenge their national champions on their way to the world podium, perhaps not this year, but down the road in Vancouver, looking very strong.
Going to see the original dance today, Tracy. Youth movement is also the Canadian story. The leaders of that youth movement, the former world junior champions who won a silver medal at the World Championships in Sweden, Virtue Moyer, they're not here, and yet another Canadian young dance team, Crone and Poirier, doing very well.
Vanessa and Paul are kind of having the same breakthrough into the senior ranks that Virtue and Moyer did when they went from junior to senior. Second in Junior Worlds last year. I think they've come out here with this great choreography. They're both single skaters. They can both do triple jumps, and that shows us athleticism in the ice dance. It's very, very exciting, and it'll be fun to watch this competition. They're just sitting down in fourth, but we can expect they'll get stronger as the competition goes on, as it gets more creative.
A little bit wide open in the original dance. Watch for Crone and Poirier of Canada. Virtue Moyer, we talked about them. Silver medal at the World Championships in Sweden. What is their situation? With more, here's Brenda Irving.
Well, Scott, Tessa and Scott were supposed to be here competing at Skate Canada, but Tessa suffered an injury, a rare condition called compartment exertion syndrome, and it's very rare due to overtraining. What it does is cause pain in the legs. She did have surgery to repair that. It is successful, and they say that the prognosis is good. They should be back competing by the end of November. And by the way, Scott is here in town this weekend for Skate Canada. He says he's just here to watch the skating, enjoy it, and to cheer his Canadian teammates on.
Thanks very much, Brenda. Over the next 2 hours, the OD and men's short program on the main network. Then World Cup short track speed skating from Vancouver. At 4 ET, the pairs and men's free. Everything's on Bold and CBCSports.ca with the commentary of PJ Kwong, who is in the rink here in Ottawa. Now, let's take a look at the standings after the compulsory dance. Merrill Davis and Charlie White of the United States have the lead. Pechera Borza of France, Tracy talked about them, they are second. And Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier of Canada, a very close fourth after the compulsory. Well, Tracy, you talk about young Canadians. Here's another young Canadian dance team, Andrea Chong, Guillaume Gefeller, who train in Saint-Julie, Quebec.
Ninth at the National Championships last year, and for their original dance, they're performing to Minnie the Moocher and Sing Sing Sing. The rhythm for the OD this season, music from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. One of the elements of the original dance is the midline not touching step sequence. Wonderful opportunity to assess the skaters as individuals, see if they're balanced in strength and finesse. Nice unison through this section. Love the character of that left. Keeping the flavor of the dance through the elements. Another must, a spin. It's a combination spin. Levels of difficulty awarded for the elements and the quality of the execution. Nice speed and flow through their twizzle section. Going for extra difficulty with the hands behind the back.
Tracy, only a year and a half together, and they were fourth at Nebelhorn in the preseason. Andy and Denise Chong in attendance here to watch their daughter compete at Skate Canada International. Young Canadians on the move. We'll return to Ottawa in just a moment. Welcome back. Guillaume Gefeller taking his seat with Andrea Chong along with their coach Julie Marcotte as we look at their program.
And Julie is also their choreographer, and she has a great sense of music and kind of what works in the for the audience and what gets them going. Here's a look at their midline step sequence, skating side by side, the only time that they're not allowed to touch each other. And you can see they're working back and forth, creating curves on the ice or deep edges. And as the competition progresses, you'll see more difficult turns and deeper edges. I really liked the polish of this program. This twizzle section, they got a little bit separated, a bit too far apart, and they started to slow down in the twizzles. And those are all the little details that, of course, the judges are looking for. When you're judging ice dance, it's like splitting hairs. You're just looking for the subtleties, the nuances.
Look around the spin area.
Bonjour. Salut tout le monde.
This team is very new together. They competed for the first time last year. And so their first senior Grand Prix event together.
Still coming together, along with Julie Marcotte. He's from Quebec, she's from Toronto.
They scored for the original dance.
They stood at 8th after the compulsory dance. 2390, technical elements, 1934 in the program. Their original dance, 4324. You heard Andrea, she had hoped for 45. There's their grand total now, 69.53, the first in this original dance program.
Kristina Gorshkova and Vitaly Budakov.
This is Russia's youthful entry at HomeSense Skate Canada International. 18-year-old Kristina Gorshkova and 21-year-old Sergei Budakov. They were third at the 2007 Junior Nationals and third at the Junior World Championships.
This rhythm that's been chosen for the ice dancers this year for competition really allows their character to come out. You get to see a bit of their personalities. A lot of work there on one foot in this circular step sequence. They were skating on one foot, and just by working their knee bend and working the curve, they were able to maintain their speed.
Kristina Gorshkova and Sergei Budakov of Russia making their first Grand Prix appearance here in the nation's capital of Ottawa. Right now, let's get you to Brenda Irving.
Well, for Andrea and Guillaume, this is their very first taste of senior Grand Prix competition. What do you think of your performance so far through the first 2 of 3 skates?
Well, we've been really happy with our performances so far. So far, we've skated everything clean and to the best of our ability, so that's all we can do.
You know, in the dance world, it seems like couples are together for years and years. You look at your friends, Tessa Virtue, Scott Moyer. They've been together more than a dozen years now, and here are the 2 of you only together a year and a half. Because of that, what do you think is possible for the 2 of you as you move forward?
Well, obviously there's experience we need to get first, and I think this is what we're getting this year on doing competitions on the international level. It's been a year of improvement for us, and so far it's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, it looks great. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
Scott?
Thanks, Brenda. The spirit of the 20s, the Great Gatsby and all that, ragtime. Showtime coming up for Home Stars in Ottawa.
Here's a look at their mid-line step sequence, and watch the curve that the blade's making on the ice, weaving back and forth. Very important that they're including difficult turns. That ramps up the level of difficulty and, of course, the marks. And here's a look at the circular sequence that I was talking about. Skating on one foot, turning, twisting, bouncing a little bit, and then finally they get halfway around the circle and change feet. Character was kept throughout the dance. I thought this rhythm suited them really well.
Young hope for the Russian dance. Gorshkova and Budakov. He, the senior skater at only 21 years of age. They are from and train in Moscow.
The score for the original dance, 49.
They were fifth after the compulsories. 27 for the technical, 22.82 for the program, 49.82 in the original dance to make their total just over 80 and push them into first spot. Anytime you skate at home, there are big expectations. But ready to shoulder them, Vanessa Crone and Paul Poirier of Canada. She just turned 18 3 days ago. He's only 16, but ready to go.
They will be skating to Piano Rags by Scott Joplin. Athleticism and originality, the key to their success thus far. Spinning easy for them. They both do it as single skaters. The deep curves here on their step sequence, weaving back and forth, showing control and power. Vanessa getting a little off there. Twizzles. Vanessa too far forward on the blade. Good recovery.
Stepping out, they won Junior Grand Prix in Romania and Croatia last year. There's Vanessa's mom, Janina, in the audience helping to celebrate a birthday and this appearance at the Grand Prix. Their coach, Carol Lane, calls them ferrets. They're into everything at the Scarborough Frigate Skating Club. Deborah Mendez, Paul's mother, also in attendance here in Ottawa. Crone and Poirier, the young Canadian hopes. We'll return to HomeSense Skate Canada International in a moment.
Raised in Aylmer, Quebec, the brother and sister team of Isabelle and Paul Duchesne laced up their skates and hit the ice at an early age. The duo skated innovative programs, but struggled to find approval from the Canadian Federation. In 1985, Isabelle and Paul left the Canadian team and skated for their mother's homeland of France. Continuing a tradition of unique performances, they finally hit the podium, winning bronze at the 1989 Worlds and then silver in 1990. The following year, the Duchesnes won the world title. They were gold medal favorites heading into the 92 Olympics, but finished second behind the powerful Russians. That silver medal was the last amateur medal for the Duchesnes, who truly influenced the course of ice dance for years to come.
Welcome back. Here they are, Vanessa Crone, Paul Poirier, out of the Scarborough Figure Skating Club.
Sitting with their coaches Carol Lane and Yuri Razguliev. And Carol's father used to play the piano for silent movies, so she said this program was a nod to him. Here's a look at their first lift. I love the creativity, and every lift that they do in their programs is new, original. Different in the OD than the free dance. Watch this. In England, they call it a teapot. In Canada, a shoot the duck. But Vanessa, as she's spinning nicely on one foot in that twizzle, went off balance, but she was able to get back into it. I don't think she put her foot down too, so she still may get credit for the levels. It'll be interesting to see, but not the quality of it. However, I found this performance charming. I loved the way they brought their athleticism to it, but also they really kind of got into the rhythm of the music. They got the audience involved right away. Perhaps they were a little eager in this, their first Skate Canada, pushed it a little bit too much to the edge.
Perhaps trying to get to the podium. They were fourth after the compulsory dance and had hopes of hovering around the podium and a medal here. Their total now 80-4 after a 49-1-3 OD to put them second.